Good afternoon. Welcome to today's press conference. Now the floor is open. CCTV. With the China-US presidential meeting approaching, there is speculation that China may push President Trump to talk about Taiwan, was China's comment. The Taiwan question is at the core of China's core interests and the bedrock of the political foundation of China-US relations. Abiding by the One China principle and the 3 China-US joint communiques and honoring the commitments made by U.S. administrations on the Taiwan question is the U.S. due international obligation. It is also the prerequisite for a steady, sound, and sustainable China-US relationship. China has unwavering support and resolve in safeguarding national unity and territorial integrity. Taiwan independence and cross-strait peace and stability are as irreconcilable as fire and water. To keep the Taiwan Strait peaceful and stable, there must be unequivocal opposition to Taiwan independence. Next one, please. TV Tokyo. In November last year, Japanese Prime Minister Takaichi said at the Diet that a Taiwan emergency involving the use of military vessels and military force from the Chinese mainland could constitute a survival-threatening situation for Japan. And today, it has been 6 months since she made such remarks, was China's comment.
China has made solemn position clear more than once. The root cause of current difficulties of China-Japan relations lies in the erroneous remarks on Taiwan made by the Prime Minister of Japan, Sanya Takaichi. The responsibility is completely on Japan. True communication and dialogue should be built on the basis of respecting others and honoring the common understanding. If the Japanese side truly wants to improve China-Japan relations, then it should honor the 4 political documents between China and Japan and its own commitments, retract erroneous remarks, and safeguard the political foundation of our relations with concrete actions. We urge the Japanese administration to face up to the root causes, do soul searching, and create necessary conditions for the normal exchanges between China and Japan. Next one, please.
Good afternoon. Question from Telesur. This week marks 4 months since the illegal United States bombings and invasion of Venezuela, which resulted in the deaths of more than 100 people and caused damage to both civilian and military infrastructure in the country. These attacks culminated in the forcible detention of President Nicolás Maduro and First Lady Cilia Flores, who remain held hostage in New York. Since then, the Bolivarian people have repeatedly gone to the street demanding the release of their kidnapped leaders. 4 months later, what is the Chinese position of the government regarding these developments? Thank you.
4个月前
4 months ago, the United States blatantly imposed military attacks on Venezuela and forcibly controlled President Maduro and the First Lady. Such hegemonic actions have seriously violated international law, infringed the sovereignty of Venezuela, and threatened the peace and stability in the LAC region. China firmly opposes it. We will always support Venezuela in safeguarding its sovereignty, dignity, and lawful rights. Next one, please.
A question from AFP. In the talks between Foreign Minister Wang Yi and the U.S. Senator Steve Daines in Beijing today, did China offer suggestions on how the U.S. and Iran may reach a lasting peace deal? And if so, what were they? And did China advocate for Iran's right to the peaceful use of nuclear energy, which Minister Wang Yi acknowledged during yesterday's talks with the Iranian foreign minister? And finally, did the Chinese side push the U.S. to withdraw its military vessels from the Strait of Hormuz and lay out wishes for next week's visit by U.S. President Donald Trump. Thank you.
关于王毅外长
As to Foreign Minister Wang Yi's meeting with the U.S. Senator, we will release the readout. Please stay tuned.
下一个问题，
Next one, please.
A question from Accuses. So Paraguay's president, Santiago Peña, is right now visiting Taiwan with a delegation of business leaders, reaffirming ties between the two sides. So how does China respond to this visit? Thank you.
回应。
一个中国原则是
The One China principle is a basic norm in international relations and a prevailing consensus in the international community. There are 183 countries in the world have established diplomatic ties with China on the basis of the One China principle. We urge the Paraguay authority to stand at the right side of history at an early date, make the right choice of recognizing One China principle and severing the so-called diplomatic ties with the DPP authority.
下一个问题，
Next one, please.
第八中文是记者阿斯玛提问。
China Arab TV. According to Emirates News Agency, oil facility in the UAE and oil tankers trying to transit the Strait of Hormuz have been attacked by Iran, was China's comment.
中方对阿联
China is deeply concerned over the attacks on the UAE and firmly opposes moves that escalate tensions in the region. China has all along believed that the sovereignty, security, and the territorial integrity of the Middle East and Gulf countries should be earnestly respected, and civilians and non-military assets should be protected. The pressing priority is to realize an immediate and full ceasefire and prevent further spread of the conflict.
下一个问题，
Next one, please.
Another question from Telesur. In recent days, the United States has announced a new set of measures expanding sanctions against Cuba, further tightening the economic restrictions and targeting key sectors of the Cuban economy. These actions are continuous of a long-standing policy of coercion and collective punishment against the Cuban people, with the aim of provoking a change of government. In this context, how does the Chinese government assess the latest escalations of sanctions against Cuba? Thank you.
对于美方
On the relevant executive order issued by the United States, we have made our position clear. I want to reiterate that the United States' sweeping illegal unilateral sanctions against Cuba have violated the Cuban people's rights to survive and thrive, seriously violated the basic norms of international relations. China firmly supports Cuba in safeguarding its national sovereignty and security, firmly opposes the interference in the internal affairs of Cuba. China urges the United States to immediately stop its blockade, sanction, and other forms of coercion and pressure against Cuba.
下一个问题，
Next one, please.
第八中文是在提问。
China Arab TV. The French National Assembly voted 141 in favor in the review to adopt a draft bill aimed at simplifying the return procedures of cultural relics. What is China's comment on the adoption? And will China negotiate with France to recover Chinese cultural relics, or with any other countries who have Chinese cultural relics?
我们注意到了有关报
We have noticed the relevant reports. China appreciates France's responsibilities on advancing the return of lost cultural relics to its countries of origin. We are expecting the legislative procedure of the bill can be accomplished. And we are also looking forward to having cooperation with France in this regard. China and France have multiple successful experiences on prevention of smuggling of cultural relics and facilitating the loss of the lost cultural relics. We are ready to work with France and the relevant parties to continue to work through dialogue and cooperation to advance the return and protection of the lost cultural relics and the mutual learning between our two peoples. Next one, please.
谢谢发言人。澎湃新闻提问。
The paper. In Japan, recent demonstrations have drawn public attention in the country. Tens of thousands of them protested across the country, and around 50,000 gathered in Tokyo to oppose government plans to revise the Constitution, Article 9. In the context, how does China view the developments in Japan, and particularly regarding public opposition to constitutional changes? We noted the relevant developments in Japan. An increasing number of Japanese people are voicing their opposition to the plan of Takaichi's government to revise the constitution. It shows that Japanese right-wing forces' push to revise the constitution and accelerate remilitarization has little support and has put all peace-loving people in the world, including those in Japan, on high alert and met with strong opposition. Japanese militarists once committed horrendous crimes to the people in China and other Asian countries and inflicted untold sufferings to the Japanese people as well. To prevent the revival of Japanese militarism, which will surely bring disaster again to the world, the Allied nations made a series of institutional and legal arrangements prior and after the victory of World War II, including the Cairo Declaration, the Potsdam Proclamation, which clearly stipulate that Japan should be completely disarmed and not maintain such industries as would enable the country to rearm for war. There are also relevant articles in the UN Charter, which, from a institutional level, permanently prohibit Japan from retracing the path of militarism. That is why Japan's constitutional revision concerns post-war international order and where Japan is going. And this issue has been closely watched by the international community and its Asian neighbors. Recently, scholars pointed out that Japan needs to understand that its constitution is not just a domestic covenant. It is actually embodies the consensus and considerations of the whole international community, including China. To prevent the revival of militarism is Japan's due obligation and also the strong will of the international community, including China. May the 3rd marks the 80th anniversary of the Tokyo trial. It is also worth mentioning that the date of the assembly coincides with the anniversary. At such an important historical juncture, some forces in Japan not only failed to reflect soberly upon the history of aggression as they ought to, but even sought to accelerate military buildup, posing a threat to peace and stability in the region. The international community must stay vigilant and oppose the regressive attempts at turning the wheel of the history. Next one, please.
One more question from Telesur. As part of the Brazil-China Year of Culture, Brazilian Minister of Culture, Margareth Menezes, recently visited China, where she met with her Chinese counterpart, Sun Ye-li. During official engagement aimed at strengthening bilateral cultural ties, a series of activities has currently been held in both countries under this framework, including exchange between artists and institutions. In this context, how does the Chinese government assess the role of cultural diplomacy in deepening relations with Brazil, and what outcomes does Beijing expect from the Brazil-China Year of Culture? Thank you.
Under the framework of 2026 China-Brazil Year of Culture, a series of abundant cultural activities are being held in two countries, just as the logo of the Year of Culture shows. When the peony meets the golden trumpet tree, what we're witnessing is the mutual affinity and understanding of our two peoples and the vitality of China-Brazil community with a shared future. China is ready to work with Brazil to take this year of culture as an opportunity to jointly advance the development of our bilateral relations and mutual learning of human civilizations. We welcome the journalist friends and people from all sectors to continue to follow and participate in the relevant activities to feel the beauty of cultural integration. Next one, please.
Asahi Shimbun. The exchanges are decreasing between China and Japan. Does China hopes to resume people-to-people exchanges between the two countries?
I have clearly pointed out just now that the root causes of current difficulties of China-Japan relations lies in the erroneous remarks on Taiwan made by Senator Takaichi. The responsibility is completely on Japan. If Japan truly wants to improve our relations, it should honor the full political documents between China and Japan, its own commitments, retract the erroneous remarks, and to safeguard the political foundation of China-Japan relations with concrete actions to create the necessary conditions for the normal communication between China and Japan. Next one, please.
Question from Reuters. The Wall Street Journal has reported that Washington and Beijing are starting official discussions about artificial intelligence between the two sides during next week's summit in Beijing, and also that Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent is going to lead the effort on the American side. Who would be leading those discussions on the Chinese side? Thank you.
China and the United States are in touch concerning President Trump's visit to China. As to the specifics you mentioned, I have no information to offer now.